11-year-old Mia Cirio was in that fourth grade classroom that we've heard so much about with Miss Garcia and Miss Mireles. She said they were watching Lilo and Stitch because it was the end of the school year. They'd finished their lessons. And she said one of her teachers got an email that there was a shooter in the building and went to the door, and he was right there. And they made eye contact.
The shooter made eye contact with the teacher.
And then he shot out the window in the door. And then Mia says it just happened all so fast. He backed the teacher into the classroom, and he made eye contact with the teacher again, looked her right in the eye, and said, "Good night," and then shot her and killed her.
He said good night before he shot her.
Good night. And then it happened pretty fast after that as well. He started open firing in the classroom. He hit the other teacher, a lot of Mia's friends. At that point, Mia was hit by fragments of the bullets. You could even see them yesterday. I mean, on her back, on her shoulders, the back of her head.
The shooter then, she says, went into the adjoining classroom.
Yeah, so he went through this door to the adjoining classroom, and at that point, Mia could hear screams. She heard a lot more gunfire. And then she said she heard music. She thinks it was the gunman that put it on. He started blasting sad music. And I asked her, like, what was that? Like, what kind of music? What do you mean by that? And she just said it sounded like "I want people to die" music.
Oh, she said she heard music. She said it sounded like "I want people to die" music. What did Mia do then?
So she had a friend next to her that she was pretty sure was already dead and was laying on the ground bleeding out. And she put her hands in her friend's blood and then smeared it, she said, all over her body. She wanted to look like she was dead. She was scared that the gunman was going to come back through that adjoining door back into the classroom, and she wanted to be able to play dead.
Holy crap. So now that the producers, that was a CNN producer, Nora News, talking to the kids who survived, talking to the kids who made it out of that classroom, are now telling the story of what they saw and what they heard and what they went through and how they played dead and how they laid one on top of the other, trying to, be bypassed. Now we understand that every single thing that we were told in these dog and pony show press conferences were all made up. Everything that they told us was a lie. Everything. From the fact that the police officers ran in, the brave, school resource officer. I mean, we had a lieutenant yesterday tell us that he had talked to the school resource officer, talked to him, and now we know that the school resource officer wasn't even there. We've known that for a couple days now, but here today there was yet another press conference. They have gone full circle from the original director of the Department of Public Safety, Mr. McCraw, who was praising the brave resource officer and the brave police officers who ran toward the bullets and everything. Then they downshifted into some regional director. Then they downshifted again into a lieutenant. Now we're back to the director. And the director held a press conference yet again today and finally admitted to an enormous amount of buffoonery. Just admitted that they were lying and admitted that they knew they were. This is not like, oh, as we go along, we'll get more information. We'll be able to flesh it out even in more detail. No, this was an admission today that they had decided to lie and that the time to make the excuses about the botched response had ended. That the entire press corps, this is why a free press is so important to a free society. But if the entire press corps, if local news and CNN and MSNBC and Fox News even, and all of the news channels and all of the networks, the ABCs, the CBSs, if they hadn't descended on this little town of Uvalde and demanded answers, then the Texas governor, the Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, the director of the Department of Public Safety, all of the Texas Rangers, everyone that responded from Border Patrol, they all would have gotten away with lying about what happened that day, they would have all gotten away with it. And you want to know something creepy? What's really creepy is the true story of this is so similar to the story of Parkland. It's so similar to what happened in Florida, here in Florida, Parkland, at Marjory Stoneman Douglas. I don't know if you remember this. I'm going to jog your memory ever so slightly here, okay? In Parkland, Florida, there was a sergeant named Brian Miller. Yeah, I actually went back and looked at it. There was a police sergeant named Brian Miller. He was on the payroll, obviously, and he responded to Marjory Stoneman Douglas, knowing that there was an active shooter in that building. This is a man who was on the payroll for $137,000 a year. Okay, that's what his salary was. He was one of 4 Broward County sheriff's deputies that responded and was terminated after the investigation into what actually happened at Marjory Stoneman Douglas produced a 439-page report. He was fired for neglect of duty, failing to act during the 2018 shooting that left 17 high school kids and, the coach, the geography teacher dead, right? Mr. Feiss, and a geography teacher also died. Trying to open locked doors, by the way, to let kids out. Locked doors. So either the door needs to be locked or the door was left open, and open doors are bad, but locked doors are also bad. I don't know. But, Ted Cruz, it's the door. It's the door's fault is what it is.